Would you prefer I come to you with a rod or a whip, or with the spirit of gentleness and of love? Of course we want gentleness and love, but we've got to wake up. We've got to get sober-minded and serious and put our foot down. We've got to grab the bull by the horn and say, I don't care if you people hate me so much you want to kill me just like you did with Jesus. I don't care. But I'm going to stand here and I'm going to speak my truth, and I'm going to spread that truth to everybody I can and hope they wake up. And I'm going to embrace conservatives. I'm going to assume that they are really devoted and that they're passionate and they really believe their own BS. And I'm going to be the same way with the liberals, who I'm going to assume the same. I'm going to give them all the benefit of the doubt, communists and capitalists alike. I'm going to lump them all together and I'm going to say, listen, here's the score. Here's what it's going to take. If you're for real, then we got to get on the same page. We got to use divine tact. We got to tap into that infinite power of God in understanding this issue and to get ahead of these people, because it's coming. One way or another, it's coming. Not all the combined forces of darkness can stop what is about to take place in this world in a very short period of time. So if you want to know what you need to get your heart and your mind ready for, now you know what you need to get your heart and mind ready for. Big changes, big changes. And it can happen fast. Like Jesus said, most people, he gave us all these warning signs before the end of the age. That's it. Not the end of the world. It's nothing foreboding or ominous like that. No, he said, listen, I want you to know, I don't want you caught with your pants down. But he said it's going to happen like that. People will be caught with their pants down. I'm going to come like a thief in the night. It's going to blow people's minds. They're not going to be ready for it. And they're caught off guard. And they're going to be scrambling. They're going to be thinking about their money and their possessions and all these things. And then the flood comes, like in Noah's day, when the flood wiped them all out. And what do you got now? You got what you knew was coming all along. You knew you had a mortal body. You knew you were going to stand one-on-one in front of your Creator someday and answer for everything that you believe, everything that you think, everything that you say, and everything you teach and do. Everything. We've got to answer for our beliefs, folks. Beliefs are powerful. People go to war over beliefs. They go get maimed and killed, and they maim and kill other people because of their beliefs. This stuff is serious. All the crime out there that's being committed because of how we've been deceived and how we've been duped and manipulated. All the debt is huge. As I speak, our debt is soaring out of control. Where's the fiscal prudency by the conservatives? What have they done to put their foot down in 2008 when they had a chance to do a market correction? What did the conservatives do? What did the liberals do? Nothing. They're not working for we the people. They're working for the money masters. Understand what's going on here, folks. Understand. This is not a conservative liberal issue. This is not a capitalist communist issue. These people are ravaging us. They're raping us and pillaging and plundering us. And they'll do it in perpetuity if we let them, just incrementally, little by little. They keep on just raising the bar. Oh, well, your cost of living went up a little more, saith the landlord or whoever else is raising your taxes. And it's all taxes. Get that clearly in your head. The cost of living is a tax. Many have called it a hidden tax, but it's becoming more and more clear as more and more people wake up and they demand justice. This is where the whole $15 an hour thing came from. Let's figure it out, folks. People are tired of being run roughshod over. They're tired of all the economic injustice. They're not taking it anymore. We want social economic justice. All this bad-mouthing I know on the Alex Jones channel about social justice warriors, well, what do you think created them? Crony capitalism, fascism, that's what it is. When the government's involved, okay, and they're saying, hey, we got to do this thing, even though it's not for the best of the people. We know that we're going to create more poverty. That means we're going to create more crime. That means we're going to create more debt. That means you're going to have dubious warfare. God knows when into the future, okay, because the government says, hey, conscience, integrity, honor, blah, I don't need that stuff. Bah humbug. What I need is a paycheck. I want financial security. I want to be out of fear. I want to be free. And I don't care what effect that has on you. but we're going to manipulate the real estate market. We're going to get property taxes up, and the police and the fire, they're all going to drive nice new vehicles, and we're going to give ourselves raises without any consent from the public. And we don't really give a crap. We might say we're for minimum wage. Well, we don't have any power. That's up to the Labor Department. They're supposed to be taking care of this thing. They're supposed to be the ones overseeing ethics and saying, hey, the cost of living went up. We need a commensurate cost of living adjustment for the minimum wage workers. Otherwise, we just gave them a pay decrease. What, am I, a genius for figuring these things out? But I want to hear other people pointing these things out with a greater audience, because I know I have a meager audience, but I know I'm right about these things. So everybody else out there has to take the bull by the horns. They have to use the brain that God gave them and figure out what this is going to take. Figure out how they've got us divided. We don't know the meaning of words anymore, folks. And that's a big problem. That's a big problem, because if you don't know the meaning of words, you're utterly disempowered. That's it. Language is all we have for communication. How do we communicate? This guy's saying this, and I'm thinking this about that word he said, and in his mind, it's completely different. It's 180 degrees from what I was thinking. So what does freedom mean to you? What does security mean to you? Does this involve understanding prosperity? Understanding that this earth fundamentally belongs to God? That's a Christian perspective. And that we are all God's children. Isn't that a constitutional perspective? We're all equal. We have a right to share. Do we not at least have a right to sound currency? A right to progress, social economic progress, less debt, less dubious war, less crime, more security, more freedom? Yes, we all have a right to those things. We have a right because He gave us a right. It's not a man-made right. It's not a man-made decree. It comes from above. Okay, this is this divine tact. This is this divine intelligence, divine knowledge. This is what it is, folks. Okay, because we are all equal. Like it or not, we are all equally beloved, and that's a big deal. We should all be very glad. We should all be very glad that we have life and existence. We should all be very glad that God is a good God. But we've all got to be the squeaky wheels getting the grease. We've just got to direct it the right way. Don't be, hating on Trump supporters like myself. I mean, the story I told earlier. I'm no racist, folks. Okay, I feel very well received by the Latino community. My mother spoke fluent Spanish. She looked Mexican, though she was Dalmatian, 100% Dalmatian. She had a nice Mediterranean tan. But the thing is that the point is that Donald Trump's not a racist. I mean, he may be a little xenophobic. I just hope he's not a ringer for Hillary. He needs to come out, and he needs to really come out swinging. And one of the things I would recommend he does is, I know this is going to be controversial, and I don't benefit in any way. I don't benefit at all from all the excess immigration. Okay, as a matter of fact, it's hurt me. I'm a landscaper, okay? And this is one of the fields that the immigrants seem to really enjoy getting into. It's easy to get into. They get a couple tools. They get a pickup truck or whatever, and they've got their own little business going. They advertise in a local newspaper, and they're self-employed, okay? Just like myself. And that's what I do for a living, but I see the market's softer than I've seen in well over 30 years, so I know all this mass immigration has been hurting me. I'm competing with guys that are cheating. There's contractors out there. There's no, contractor police. There's no checking on what are you paying your workers. They're not going to be checking your books. This stuff's happening under the table. They're not even paying a minimum wage. They're paying them probably $5 an hour. I know you're illegal. I'm not going to, go. I'll call ICE if you don't like it. I'll blackmail you. This is the kind of stuff that's going on. So just to make that clear, I don't benefit from making this following statement. And that is that Donald Trump, if he really serious, he wants to win this election, he needs to stay here and now. He's going to give amnesty to as many immigrants as possible. All he's going to do is weed out the really bad guys, but he's going to forego the protocol and all that stuff of, how they should have come here the right way and all that, and say, but from here on out, we're putting our foot down. If he says it now, that gives everybody in the world a chance. Hurry up, come to America before Donald Trump is president, because he's going to lay down the law at that point, and we're going to say we're putting on the brakes so that it'll be good for labor. It'll be good for the poor to soften that demand that all these immigrants are putting on stuff. And they're putting that demand on the job market too. So, I'm just saying that, we should stop it, but if he did that, he rallied that support, what could the liberals say? That's all they got. They say, oh, he's a xenophobe. He's against immigrants. He's not compassionate. All this stuff. that is not true. And, it would thwart that. It would, he'd say, well, he'd effectively say, you know what, immigrants, you can vote for me now. Okay, you can like me now. Latinos and so many of the blacks, too. They're taking Hillary's side because she's soft on that. And they don't even understand the issue, a lot of these people. They forget about supply and demand and how this puts a demand on the job market. It puts a demand on the commodities market, particularly housing. Okay, they've been really able to manipulate housing costs because of this unnatural demand that's been put on it. So the thing is there's a lot of people that really like Trump, but they're afraid too, and they're not going to vote for him because they may be landlords, and they say, well, I know that's going to soften the landlord business. If we had any kind of mass deportation, that's going to affect an awful lot of business interests out there, folks. Believe me. All that demand they've been putting on consumer goods and all this stuff, all those industries are going to hurt. And that's a whole lot of industries, the jewelry industry, the lending institutions, all of them, up and down, okay? Food industry, the housing industry, on and on and on, clothing, all the retail shopping. All this stuff is going to be affected by any kind of mass deportation. So people are afraid. It's not going to hurt me, okay, unless it hurts somebody I work for so much that, they've got to lay me off because, somehow their money was connected to this extra demand that was being put on by all the immigration. But, this will at least show everybody that he's compassionate, he's wise, he understands the business aspect, because I know he does. I know he understands the stuff I just laid out there, that there's a lot of people that are scared, a lot of business interests, a lot of employers are very scared at this idea of, hard-nosed immigration policy and mass deportation. Worries the heck out of a lot of people. Okay, so they're tending to be middle of the road. They might not even vote. They might just say, oh, well, I don't like either one, and blah, 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 and stay out of it. But, I just want to lay it out there that I don't have a lot of trust in men being able to solve their problems. Men includes women, okay? That means Hillary or Donald Trump. Unless they fundamentally attack the problem at its source, at the root, and that is the currency. We've got to demand justice from the Federal Reserve, the central bank, these private group of bankers that are putting us in debt. This is not funny. It's not cute. It just gets worse and worse and worse. And nobody's talking about it, but the anxiety keeps growing. Everybody knows, well, sooner or later, it's got to catch up with me. In the meantime, I'm going to try to keep my chin up, keep the numbers coming in, and not worry about it too much. But, eventually I know that, things could get pretty nasty economically. We're all expecting some big crash. And Janet Yellen, she's walking that tightrope. Oh, we're going to keep interest right where we are. We stabilized after they raised it, what? 1/10 of 1%, some ridiculous amount, 1/4%. And they had big deal in the market. I mean, guys like Max Kaiser thinks this could be a great way to stabilize the economy. We need interest on money so that people can start having incentive to save again. Maybe he's right. Okay, maybe people just got to start demanding, got to save. Tell you, Lauren, no, I'm really trying to save money to buy my own house, landlord, so I cannot accept that rent increase. Whoever is raising your cost of living, put your foot down and start saving. Do something. Everybody's got to figure this thing out. Like they say, there's more than one way to skin a cat, so maybe Max Kaiser is right about the interest rate thing. I pointed out the minimum guaranteed income. And I got Rob Dew over there in Germany mocking. He's talking to a guy from Switzerland where this was on the ballot recently, I guess. Some kind of a minimum guaranteed income. And apparently it was roundly defeated. Well, sure, because people are taught, well, unless you get more and more people paying Social Security, right? That's what's happening in this country, right? They say, oh, we need all these workers or else we're going to have this huge deficit in Social Security. Not talking about how simple it would be to fix the problem. It's just like Walmart wants to complain about high wages or whatever. Hey, did you know that if they raise the price 1 penny on every item in the store, they could give a $1 an hour raise to everybody there? How many consumers would even notice that? In fact, their prices are high. Their price for a jar of mayonnaise is 25% more than the grocery store. Now that they drove out all the mom and pops, now they can do this sort of thing. You understand what's going on here? So that by raising the price on that jar of mayonnaise, they could have given everybody in the store a $10, $15, $20 an hour raise. and not miss a step. You see, it's hyperbolic, but I'm trying to make a point here, folks, so you understand what a scam. They're easy fixes of Social Security system. Guys that have a lot more experience and knowledge in economic affairs, financial matters, have said this too. Very simple, very painless. The big thing is keeping the problems, keeping the fear. They don't want people prosperous. They don't want people secure. They don't want people free. They want the opposite. So once we all understand they want the opposite, then maybe we can stand and do something about it. Say, no, you're going to get this, which is contrary to what you want, and that's too bad, because one way or another it's coming. And I'm just trying to help start the fire here. The fire for what's going to be ushered in here eventually. The fire